Amber Mellon, and welcome to the Moon and Star Therapy channel. Okay, welcome to another video. If you know you are a spiritual baddie, if you know you are a goddess, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new here, okay, and hit that notification bell, and so you'll never miss an upload from me. And for those of you who are not new here, hello ladies, hello queens and goddesses. If I have any kings watching, hello kings, how are you all doing today? Thank you all so much for tuning into another video. I'm super excited about today's topic, and we are going to jump right in. We are getting back into our divine feminine goddess videos and educating you ladies on how can you stand in your power in 2024. How can you radiate that goddess energy, okay? And so I hope everyone had a wonderful Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed my last video. So yeah, let's get into it, okay? So one of the things that was on my heart to share with you ladies about owning your goddess energy, stepping into your divine feminine energy, really being in that feminine energy this year. One of the things that God put on my heart for me to talk to you about is radiating and not projecting, okay? So as a goddess, as a divine feminine, you want to radiate and not project, okay? And the level of that is definitely dependent upon the amount of inner work that you are doing within yourself, that healing, okay? You gotta do the work, okay? Being a goddess is not just about looks or, again, how you dress, how you wear your hair, what type of luxury lifestyle you have, the kind of car you drive. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. Those type of things can enhance, your goddess energy or make you feel even better, okay? But they don't add value to you, okay? A goddess can be a goddess whether she has $3 in her pocket or 3 million in her pocket, and that's the energy that I want you to ladies to be on, okay? If you're a guy watching, that's the energy that you should be looking for within your divine feminine. If you're looking for if you're out there and you're single and you're a guy watching and you're just watching to see, okay, I like this goddess stuff Amber's talking about, so when I'm looking at my partner, what are the things that I should be looking for, okay? So yes, a woman who is standing in her feminine energy, her divine feminine energy, okay? Because it's one thing to just be feminine energy, but we're talking about divine feminine energy, okay? And so one of the, I did look up divine for you because there's a lot of misinformation out there about divine feminine energy and how it's all about, it's evil and it's all about doing whatever you want to do and not having any rules. No, that is not what divine feminine energy is. And a lot of women who go that direction really don't know themselves and who they are, and there is still some indoctrination of our society that they haven't dealt with within themselves, okay? So when I say the word divine feminine energy, divine feminine, the word divine means, all that means is from God, okay? So I looked up the definition of divine. Divine is of, relating to, proceeding directly from God, supremely good, superb, heavenly, God-like. Okay, someone who is all about discovering their intuition, has divine insight, divine truth, or discovery, or able to locate, okay? That's all divine means. When you understand your divine feminine energy, you understand that you are a divine representation of God. Hence the word, we are created in God's likeness, in his image. You understand that you are a representation and expression of Mother God and Father God. And why I have decided to include Mother God in this is because God is a spiritual being, okay? He is, I do this to myself, he is genderless, okay? I identify God as my father, but I also now identify God as my mother, okay? Because God is a spirit being. There is no gender when it comes to God. He is spiritual. Gender is a physical manifestation of us living on this earth, of male and female, okay? but we're talking about spiritual here. There is no such thing as gender when it comes to God. It's energy, okay? Male and female is a word to describe how things work that God has created, the things that have come from inside him, okay? So I really want you ladies to get that clear, because there's a lot of things out there about, you know, women who resonate with being a goddess and they're trying to be God and do whatever they want. No, women who speak like that, they do not know themselves. Beyonce's I Am King video, there was a quote in there. It says, how can you know me unless I know myself? And if I don't know myself, how can you know me? Okay. And what it was saying is that if women and men are black queens and our black kings, if we don't know our royalty and we don't know how worthy we are, how can we expect anybody else to understand that? Okay. So when I'm talking, when you're talking about, hey, you know, to your friends or to someone you know about, you know, how you are wanting to know more about divine feminine energy and about what being a goddess is, I want you to realize that it has nothing to do with being evil. It's all has to do with understanding your divinity, how powerful you are, how you are a goddess, because your father, your mother god is your father, is your mother, okay? And that's what makes you a god or a goddess, okay? It's just like a man having a son and naming his son after him, okay? The son doesn't think like, oh, I'm my dad just because they have the same name. It's like, no, I am an extension of my dad, okay? So I really wanted to clear that before we get into that, okay? So God is all about balance, okay? Balance. And so you have to understand that when God created women, okay, women are the representation of the feminine energy of God. So you can't have the masculine without the feminine, and you can't have the feminine without the masculine, okay? You will never hear me shame men, especially my black kings on this channel, or women, but you will hear me educate and tell the truth, okay? And so I do believe that our society needs to get a better understanding about this divine feminine and divine masculine and how things operate, because it's all about balance and coming together. No gender is better than the other, and I feel like that's what creates a lot of confusion on TikTok and Instagram and all these topics. Is no gender is better than the other. God is so good that he is trying to help us to understand how both aspects of masculine energy and feminine energy work together to create this earth, okay? All right, so let's get into the juicy part. I just wanted to get that out there in case any of you ladies come into a conversation with someone telling you, oh, that being a goddess is evil and being divine feminine energy is evil. That's a person that does not know themselves. That's a person that doesn't know how powerful they are. They don't know their identity is in God, and they feel powerless, okay? And they have left it up to a system and an indoctrination in order to live their lives, okay? But when you are a divine feminine, you understand that number one, accountability, okay, which goes into the topic of me talking about how a goddess is supposed to radiate and not project, okay? So in order to radiate, okay, when you radiate confidence, when you radiate peace, when you radiate goddess glow, that peace, joy, happiness, that going with the flow energy that I just mentioned, is by doing the inner work on yourself, okay? And first and foremost, I will take myself as an example. It is not easy owning your goddess energy. Let me just say that. You just don't wake up one day and like, yeah, I want to be a goddess. I'm a goddess. I mean, you already are, but it really takes a while to really believe that and let that sit in and resonate, okay? So yes, you are a goddess. Yes, you are a king. Yes, you are a queen. But there are so many of us, including myself, that it's taken some time to get to that point of honestly believing how powerful you are, how beautiful you are, how you can do anything that you can imagine. All you have to do is believe in yourself. It takes a while, because as soon as we're born, there is so much that is being taught to us that sometimes can tell us everything opposite of that, okay? And so I will take myself for an example. Some of you may be like, Amber, you know, the way you look, I like the way you do your hair, I like the way you do your makeup. What do you mean that you had to work on your confidence? You talk so well, you speak so well, you're so good in front of the camera loves you, you come alive in front of the camera. These are some of the things that I've heard from like my family and friends, those who've ever seen me on camera and ever seen me talk. These are just some of the things that I've heard, okay? And I just want to tell you, like, look, ladies, I'm gonna be 100 straight up transparent with you. It has took me a long time to get here. This energy that I stand in before you now, and now that I'm teaching you ladies, it has been very, very hard with me understanding how powerful I am. Okay, the assignment on my life, how powerful what I do and what I create is so important and needed, and that confidence that you ladies and guys see, all of that has been a lot of work, okay? So one of the things I will be transparent, for those of you who've been subscribed to my channel for a long time, you've heard me talk about my relationship with my birth mother, okay? So I do mention my mom sometimes, so you'll hear me say mom and my birth mother, okay? So my mom is my stepmom, and then when I talk about my birth mother, I'm actually talking about, of course, the mother who gave birth to me, okay? And those of you who have been watching my videos for a long time, you have heard me share some things about my experiences with my mother that weren't great, that really, you know, caused a lot of inner trauma within inside me, a lot of inner turmoil, okay, and caused me to make some decisions that, you know, weren't the best, but hey, everything works out for the good of those that love God, right? So one of the things I will share and be transparent with you ladies in order, you know, be a little bit vulnerable in order to help you to understand, you know, where I'm really coming from when it comes to confidence is, you know, when growing up as a teenager and as a young adult, even though you ladies see my looks and how I am, I didn't hear positive things, okay? So it's like with my mom, the way she did things, you know, and sometimes people with mental illness, okay, you can be raised by a parent who will say, you know, positive things and negative things to you at the same time. And it does something to your mental state of being. And a lot of times the positive aspects comes when you're doing things their way, comes when you're, you know, under their control, and or it comes when they want something. And a lot of the negative things comes from when you're not doing things their way, when they can't control you, or when they see you getting from out of your control, with the type of mother that I had, okay? And so I used to hear things, one of the most hurtful, painful things that I heard as a young adult with someone who gave birth to me, which was very painful, was, you know, you're nothing but the gum under my shoe. You know, I used to hear things about my weight, about my face, my body. I used to hear things like you're dumb, you're stupid, you're green, you don't know anything, you'll never be anything, you'll never amount to anything because you're doing this and this and this. And a lot of times those this and this and this had everything to do with, you know, my birth mom disagreeing, you know, about, you know, maybe a boy that I liked, or, you know, the way I wanted to do something, you know, just being a young teen, just being a young adult, you know, things that teenagers normally do, wanting to go to the mall, wanting to do this and that. You know, I had that type of mother that was, you know, a helicopter mother, very tight rein, very tight control, okay? And so I used to hear things like, oh, you know, you don't know what's good for you. I know what's good for you. You know, you're going to, you know, choose a man that's going to beat up on you one day and beat you and get you pregnant, and because you're so green. And I mean, I heard a lot of horrible things. A lot of horrible things was said to me as a young teenager and as a young adult. I've been called every name under the book from my birth mother. Things that I hope to never ever say to my own personal daughter. Things like the B word and, you know, you're a hoe or you're homeless or you're fast or, I mean, nasty, nasty, horrible things. And the funny part is I wasn't partaking or doing any of these things. You know, that tactic used by my birth mother of her saying those hurtful things was a way to keep me from doing it. But in the process, a lot of mental damage was done. A lot of mental damage was done. And so when you grow up like that as a young teenager and as a young adult, and I didn't come from up under that until I was around 21, I believe. Yeah, I didn't come from under that type of toxic trauma until the age of 21. And there's a lot of other painful, hurtful things that I've experienced that nobody would think, you know, that I have experienced before, that if it's a need for me to share it, you know, I share it. But I really wanted to hit home with the confidence thing, because that is number one with radiating and not projecting, okay? And I will say in the past, because of the way that I was raised by a verbally, emotionally violent mother, it really did a number on my mental state and my, you know, well-being. And, you know, getting married, you know, was a reflection of that, of what I thought I deserved, okay? And where I was at the time of wanting someone who would keep me safe, because I was not safe. I never felt safe with my mom because she was emotionally unbalanced and all over the place. So, you know, being a older adult, you know, in my early 20s, I wish I had some tissue right now. I got married, and that marriage was a reflection of how I thought about myself, okay? Which was somewhat in medium to low confidence, okay? And so again, I chose someone that I felt like would keep me safe, that would protect me, and that was stable, okay? And so I don't think I thought about all the other stuff, okay? And so lo and behold, to me, you know, I married someone who also, you know, kind of grew up in a toxic environment with his mother and experienced traumas in a different way than I experienced them, but we both experienced them, okay? So I married someone who also didn't practice self-love or love themselves. You know, my daughter's father also didn't believe, you know, he had a hard time expressing how he felt, especially when it came to me and expressing, like, you know, Amber, you're beautiful, you know, just really, you know, when you're in a relationship, you want your partner to express, you know, why they love you. You want your partner to express, you know, how they see you. You want that reassurance. You want those words of validation. At least I'm a person that likes words of affirmation. I like to know, am I doing a good job? I like to know, you know, is my partner being pleased with how things are going in the relationship? You know, I like to know those things. And so I married someone who was kind of like, well, if I'm a provider and I come home every night and I provide for you and you don't want for nothing, then you should know that I love you, okay? And so being in a marriage, I also, with that, I'm sorry guys, I didn't know this was gonna get emotional for me, but I'm just being transparent so you ladies can feel me, that this shit is real. That when I speak what I speak, I'm not just saying it. I'm not just pulling stuff out my ass. I'm not just like, oh yeah, oh my God. No, I'm serious. I had to do a lot of inner work, a lot of shadow work, a lot of healing, a lot of facing the truths about myself to get to this point. And so I married someone who didn't do the words of affirmation. So you're looking at someone from the time of being young, of a mom telling you, you're beautiful and telling you you're ugly at the same time. Of a mom telling you you can do anything, there's nothing you can't do, but when you go outside of their control, they're also telling you you're green, you're dumb, you're not ready to go to college, you don't need to go to college, you need to stay here with me. And then you marry someone who shows their love in the only way that they know how, because they too came from a toxic, traumatic environment. And the way they show love is by providing, and they have a hard time expressing yourself. You can see where there is nothing validating me in my environment. You can see how my environment, when it comes to the self-affirmation, not self-affirmation, but the validation of others, the support, the verbal support, the emotional support from those around me was dry, okay? And it wasn't until, I left my mother and I went to go live with my dad and go to hair school at the age of 20, 21, that started to get better, that traumatic environment, that toxic environment of just being beat down every single day about what you're doing wrong, what's not going well. I came up out of that. When I tell you, ladies and guys, I used to get yelled at every single day. I used to get scolded at every single day. And I really think my mom suffered from some type of, mental illness. But I don't want to make this about her. I'm just trying to tell you and be transparent and express to you the type of things I've experienced that just looking at me, you would never think I've experienced, okay? I never really experienced a warm love from a mother, okay? And so God had to be my mother. And that's how I can tell you that in God is everything. A lot of times you'll hear people say, oh, God is like my brother. God is like my sister. God is like my best friend. God is like my father. God is like my mother. That's because God is everything. And everything he created is an expression of him. And so I had to allow God to remother. I had to remother myself. Nobody else came and did it for me. And I will say, as a young woman growing up, looking for that motherly love, I always tried to look for it in older women that I admired. And I was always let down. And eventually God was saying, Amber, let me mother you. Stop looking outside of yourself. Stop looking outside of yourself for validation. I got you, because I can be anything to those. I am the mother to the motherless. I am a father to the fatherless. I know that you wanted that mother figure in your life. I know that you wanted that warm love. I know that you wanted that validation. I know that you didn't get it, but I can be that for you. And so when I tell you that you gotta own your shit and you got to be honest with yourself, I'm not just making this shit up. I'm so serious. I've been through a lot of pain, a lot of traumatic experience that no one would even think that I've been through. I'm not just here just putting on makeup and looking good. What you see is not my hair. It's not my makeup. It's not my body. It's not my clothes. It's the inner strength that God has given me to get right here. And I'm telling you, you have to let go of any person, place, thing, or situation that has ever hurt you in life. You gotta let it go. You gotta stop having expectations from it. And you gotta leave it to God, and you gotta get to God and ask him to be those areas that was dry. You have to ask him, like, God, please fill it up. Fill it up with your water of living life. You have to ask him that. He will do that for you. You got to stop expecting apologies from people. You have to be okay with not getting closure from people. That's why, as I've gotten older, anything that is not benefiting me anymore, any person that I feels like not reciprocating the energy, I just close the door silently. I don't need closure. I don't need conversation, because I've been there, done that. And sometimes you can be waiting for years for someone to apologize, for years to someone to own up to what they've done. You can be waiting for years for someone to ask your forgiveness, and you're leaving the power in in someone else's hands. And so it is your job to take accountability for the painful things that happen in your life. No, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility because it can hold you hostage. Me not getting those words of affirmation, that warm love, held me hostage in my marriage, needing that from my daughter's father. It held me hostage of needing that to feel like I can go do this and I can go do that. It held me hostage from believing in myself. It held me hostage from stepping out on faith and doing certain creative things because I need someone to tell me, hey, Amber, you're worthy enough. You're powerful enough. You're good enough. It held me hostage. And eventually you're like, this is not working out. Something's not working out. And when you get to that point where you're sick and tired, and so sick and tired of meeting the different people with the same toxic energy, eventually you have to look inside yourself and say, okay, it's something I'm doing wrong because I keep meeting different faces, same energy. So what's really going on here? So I would meet, associates and people who wanted to get close to me with that same energy of my mother, or with that same toxic, draining, coming to take energy. Okay, being like that with my mother made me a type of person that wanted to prove myself. I had to feel like I had to prove that I was worthy of someone's love. I had to feel like I had to prove myself that I'm worthy to be adored. I'm worthy of love. Like I had to prove myself that hey, I'm worthy paying attention to. I'm worthy taking a second look at. I'm worthy of being talked to. I felt like I had to prove that I'm worthy of being a friend. I'm worthy of being a lover. I felt like I had to overprove myself. And a lot of times I end up overgiving and would also not receive. It wouldn't be the same energy. The energy was never matched. Okay. Isolation, being by myself, doing it alone, faking it till you make it, okay? To really own this shit. So when God finally does present me and put me out there, I don't need anything from anybody. I don't need any validation. I don't need anyone's confirmation. I don't need anyone telling me it's nice to hear, but I don't need it because God allowed me to feel the burn. That's also something that I'm talking about. A lot of times people deny, walk away. They don't face the truth because they don't want to feel the hurt. They don't want to feel the pain. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to acknowledge the truth. So you think being a divine feminine is evil? You think being a goddess is evil? You think reclaiming your power is evil? No, this shit is hard. It's easy to rely on religion and blame stuff on the devil. It's easy to be indoctrinated in religion and blame stuff on your neighbor. It's easy to be indoctrinated in religion and blame it all on your family and never forgive and never heal. But it's harder to take responsibility, accountability for where you are, for what happened to you, even though it was not your fault, so you could be powerful, so you could be the person that God's called you to be. This shit is hard. It is work. So that's why before we get to the other stuff and I create these other videos, I really want you to know it's not the jewelry, it's not the clothes. Beyonce has a whole song about it. It's not what you have, it is that inside. It is the God inside of me that can allow me to get on camera, that can allow me to radiate and not project my insecurities, because I gave God permission to take me into isolation and to allow me to heal myself and show me things that are hindering me, that are holding me back. And a lot of what I saw I didn't like. A lot of what I saw wasn't pretty. A lot of the unworthy Wendy, the second guessing, the overthinking, the overproving, the riding on your horse to come save people, the overgiving and bending your back to prove to somebody that, hey, I'm worthy of love, that I'm a good choice, I'm a good pick. God said it's time out for that, Amber. If you really want to be great, if you really want to own your power, if you really want to level up in life, you got to address the things in your life that are hindering you back, love. You got to get out of things that you know are not giving and not reciprocating the same energy to you. And I told you, ladies and guys, in a prior video, the final cut was facing the truth about my marriage. That the whole marriage was a reflection of a toxic environment that had got out from under my mom. Now, I truly think, I really feel like, you know, if my daughter's father would have did the work, maybe we could have corrected. Maybe, you know, maybe things didn't have to go like this. But to be honest, what I see in my daughter's father now, that's who he always was. I just allowed what was going on inside of me to be blinded by it. And had I really been honest, and had I not been blinded and had those rose-colored glasses on, see, the thing about me and the thing about a lot of Virgos that comes to our detriment is we can see past the face in front of us. We can see past what's being presented in front of us, and we can see who people truly are. So my father, my daughter's father, is a person that, you know, if you meet him, you might not like him right off the bat. He's very rough around the edges, very what you see is what you get, doesn't hold back, speaks his mind, you know, kind of got in trouble a lot. You know, he could have, you know, if he didn't turn it around, it could have easily went to jail, could have easily not been here, kind of story. Okay, very powerful story that he has. He's a teacher, a mentor to millions of kids, and they absolutely love him. Okay, and so the version that he is now in a certain area of his life that he's great in when it comes to his purpose in life, that's what I was able to see at 23. You know, the things that other people didn't see, that greatness in him that people didn't see, you know, I was able to see that. But I overlooked all the other stuff that caused us to be where we are right now, if that makes sense. And so that is a superpower that I have, that is another thing that God has had to work with me on, is like, Amber, it's okay to see people's potential. It's okay to see past what's right in front of you. It's okay to see that somebody has greatness on the inside of them, even though they're not quite there yet. But you need balance, and that's what God is all about, balance. Okay, that's what I'm trying to teach you, balance. Masculine and feminine, divine masculine and divine feminine energy is truly about balance. You cannot have one and not have the other. If you have too much of one, you're out of balance, you're out of order. You're going to have an area in your life that's going to be out of whack. Okay, even if you're a man, if you're too much in your masculine side, it's going to cause you to be toxic, and you're going to see areas in your life that need attention, that need help, that you need to rethink, that you need to rewire the way you're thinking that you need to be in touch with that feminine side of you in order to see and change some things. Okay, because men have a hard time listening to their intuition, because a lot of the times they're more mental, and a lot of times us women get in these situations where we listen to our intuition, okay, that stomach part of us, but sometimes we don't also use our mind with it, okay, to set boundaries. So God was telling me, like, Amber, you have this superpower with how you see people. You can see someone who presents themselves as perfect and nice and blameless, and you can actually see that they're evil, that they have impure intentions, that they have no good intentions that are at all, that they're scammers. And you can also see people who appear to be not liked or rough around the edges, or appear to not want to hang around, but you can see the good of them, you can see the light in them, you can actually see how powerful they are, how much they are needed, how much they are a loving person, even though they might be showing you one thing. But you have to learn balance, you have to learn boundaries. Okay, and so all of that conversation and tearing up and crying Just when I think back of how far I've come and where I am now, man, it's been a long road. It's been some good times and bad times, but I have to be honest, it's been rough getting here to where I am now, and that's why nothing can stop me. Nothing, physical things can stop me, but as long as I have God with me and God on the inside of me, nothing can stop me, because I've been alone. I've been isolated. I've had nothing. Living with my birth mother, I've experienced homelessness probably a couple of times. And when I say homelessness, I don't mean completely just out on the street, but I mean not being in my own home. Okay, I know what it is to sleep in hotels. I know what it is to live with someone, to be in other people's houses. I know it. So when I come on here and I tell you things, don't look at me like, oh, Amber, what does she know? Look at her face, she's so pretty. Or look at her life. What you see on social media is not real. People only put the best parts of their life on social media, but you never know what someone is going through behind closed doors, especially people who are strong. People who are strong, they don't like to burden people with their problems. They don't like to be negative and bring all this negativity of what they're doing around. So a lot of times you won't even know what someone is going through. Someone who appears to have it all. Someone who appears to be good looking, so they must not have no worries. Someone who appears to have a great life. You don't know what they're going through, okay? So again, in order to radiate and not project, you got to, you can't fix what you don't acknowledge, okay? And in order to heal, you have to feel. And so a lot of times when you're stepping into this spiritual journey of stepping in your divine feminine power, this rise of the phoenix energy, this divine feminine energy, a lot of times you will be initiated on a spiritual awakening, okay? And it's like a initiation phase. It's almost like pledging. I've never pledged. I've heard of some stories, but you go through a tough time, and it's not to hurt you. It's not to just bring you down to the low. It's for God to sit you down. It's like being in a waiting room, okay? And so a lot of times when you're in transition, it's kind of like being in the waiting room before you actually go in for a procedure or for an operation. But healing hurts. It's not fun. It's not a good look, and it's painful. But God is with you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. And it's all to help you to be better. There's this thing that Eric Thomas says that I love. And he says, the further God takes you back, the further he takes you back. Once he releases you, it's like all those years, all that time of you not believing in yourself, all that time of you not knowing your worth. And God might take you in a period of sacrifice where you have to give up something good or something great for something phenomenal. So sometimes that good or great is a steady income, a steady paycheck. Sometimes that great is, that security, whatever that security is for you. Sometimes it's God, saying like, hey, do you really want this? Do you really want to go after your dreams? Do you really believe in yourself? Because you are going to have to give up something. You might have to give up your time. You might have to give up resources. You might have to give up a secure job. You might have to give up, being comfortable. But that sacrifice, that blood, that sweat, those tears is worth it. And that's why I love entrepreneurship, because, stepping into entrepreneurship ignited my spiritual journey, ignited me facing all types of ugly truths about myself. Because if you don't learn, if you're afraid to make mistakes, and you're afraid to learn from your mistakes and fail and look awkward and look like you don't know what you're doing, if you're afraid, oh my gosh, entrepreneurship will eat you up alive. You'll be swallowed. You'll be drowned. It takes a certain amount of tenacity. It takes amount of self-belief in yourself when you're in entrepreneurship. And a lot of times in the beginning, it's quiet. A lot of times there isn't a lot of praise. There isn't a lot of clapping. And that's why I can do what I do and continue to do what I do without any likes, without anyone liking what I'm doing, without anyone commenting me, without anyone giving me praise, validation, anything, because my approval doesn't come from men. My approval doesn't come from Instagram. My approval doesn't come from TikTok and YouTube. My approval doesn't come from people around me. The only approval that I need in order to be succeed and to be this powerful, badass, spiritual woman who knows who she is God. And I allow God to be my mother and my father. I allow God to say, hey, put the indoctrination down, put the religion down, know me for yourself, put that down. Let me talk to you. Let me speak to you. Let me tell you what needs to be fixed. And that's why y'all heard me say in previous videos, I don't subscribe to any religion. I don't subscribe to Christianity because God talks me, Amber, religion and indoctrination is me in a box. They're putting me in a box. And a lot of times God could show you so much more if you get outside of the box, that if you put him, take him from out of the box and you open your mind instead of what man has constructed him to be. I'm going to have to make a part 2 to this video because I know this video was super long, but ladies, in order to radiate and project, you have to be honest with things that you know that need to work on, whether it's your confidence, whether it's your belief in yourself, whether it's your self-image, the way you look, okay? And if it's self-image, my love, you have to accept where you are. After I had my daughter, and I had my C-section with my daughter, me having my daughter was a shit show at the hospital. I'm not gonna lie. It was a very traumatic experience, okay? And one of the things that was traumatic for me is having that type of surgery. It was very painful, very, very painful. And I feel like that added to my postpartum depression, or it started it, was just, you know, my hormones out of balance and me not feeling like myself and not recognizing my body, okay? And my daughter, oh my gosh, I carried huge when I had my daughter, huge. And I think because of the C-section and the swelling and the medicine, everything didn't contract back. Like, you know, how if I was to have her vaginally, okay? And when I came home, I didn't know who I was looking at in the mirror. You know, I was swole from medicine and antibiotics and being on an IV. I was in labor with my daughter for 48 hours. And then after 48 hours, my blood pressure started to drop tremendously. I started to get a fever, and they told me I had to have an emergency C-section. And just going through all of that pain, whatever, it was just too much. And so I really think that added to the postpartum depression as well as the hormones, but definitely me not recognizing myself when I came home, me not being able to do things for myself. And I just saw a body that wasn't mine. And it's like, what in the world? Like, this body is not mine. Like, who is this person? And so it's been rough. And so what I just said that to say this, I accepted where I was. I accepted my body, that my body was able to bring a life in this world, that I was able to have a beautiful daughter, that my body supported me to sustain life and sustain my daughter and to help her be healthy, and not talk about my body just because, oh, I don't like the way my stomach looks or I have a mom stomach. You know what I'm saying? So it's taken me a while to get here, but I had to say, Amber, you know, you carried a whole baby for 9 months. Like, your body went through changes. Like, your body supported you and wanted to have children. So you need to speak love into it. You need to stop talking bad about your body. You need to stop shaming yourself, and you need to accept where you are and then make the changes. If you want to change it, it's your responsibility. And as a goddess, you have to understand that a lot of the things in your life is your responsibility. You have to take accountability for it. There are things that are outside of our control, but life is 80% what happens to us and 20% of how we respond to it. Nothing can stop you. The only person that can stop you is you. So I really want to hit that home across, is if you're a goddess, if you are a god, a king, a queen, you know that, number one, in order for you to be powerful, you have to take accountability for the things in your life that's not going the way you want it to go. And my accountability when it comes to my body and being healthier and feeling more confident is, okay, Amber, let's just be honest. You had a whole baby and things are not how they used to be. Okay, love yourself, appreciate yourself for where you are now. But if you want to, hey, you gotta start working out. You gotta get up off the couch. You gotta dedicate your time. And whatever you choose, you need to stick to it. It needs to be something that's manageable, and you need to keep it simple. And finally, you know, I've tried to do that within the past 2 years. I will say it was difficult with school, working full-time, being a single mom full-time, and trying to work out. But you know, ever since 2024, I've been dedicated to you know, working out, being healthier so that I can feel more confident in myself. And so I have been working out 3 days a week, but I just said that to say this is, you know, if you don't like the way you look and you're struggling with your self-image, you have to accept yourself for where you are. You need to appreciate the beauty and the flaws in everything that makes you you, and look in the mirror, get comfortable. You know, I was a point, I hated looking at myself in the mirror, you know, because it's like I got this mom stomach, you know, but it's like, Amber, if you didn't have that mom stomach, you wouldn't have your baby, right? And so it's all about, okay, Amber, you know, let's look at yourself in the mirror, flaws and all. Let's do some self-acceptance. Let's do some love. Let's do some self-affirmation. Let's learn how to dress for the body that you have now and not what you used to have, okay? And let's work towards something. Let's create a small goal so that not only that you're loving yourself now and you're not where you want to be, but most certainly if you are practicing that self-love and dedicating 30 minutes, 25 minutes of your time to invest back into your body so that you can feel healthy, so that you can feel better, so that you can live longer, so that you can feel more confident. You owe it to yourself. That's a part of self-love. You know, self-love is not all about bath bombs, bathtubs, and relaxing and chilling and fruit and wine. You know, self-love is about your mental state of being, those positive affirmations of, you know, how you see yourself and how you view yourself. And so that a lot of time I do advocate for that part of self-love. It's nice to take long baths. It's, you know, it's nice to have a whole, you know, the skincare and the body care. I did a whole video on it to make yourself good. But if you don't start with here, all of that is a waste of time. You'll do all of that and you'll go back to feeling unworthy, to feeling powerless, to you know, not knowing your purpose in this life. And I really want you ladies to know that you are powerful, that you're beautiful. I don't know no human who could walk around and bleed for 7 days and not have to go to the hospital, okay? You have to understand that as a woman, you are a badass. You are a feminine, badass energy of God, okay? Just like the man is an expression of God, you are an expression of God. Where do you think the female comes from? It comes from within God, okay? And I want you to know that you are powerful. No human being, no real human being with a soul, okay, can enter this world unless it comes from your vagina. That's power. That is powerful, that your womb is responsible for facilitating Mother Earth, and that men who talk all of this woman's place and the man is the head and the woman needs to submit, them mother lovers couldn't even get here and talk all that shit if they didn't come from your vagina, okay? So I really need you to understand that type of power, okay? You bleed for 7 days and you don't have to go to a hospital. If a man was bleeding around here for 7 days, he'd be worried. He'd be talking, he'd be praying, he'd be having intercessory prayers, he'd be calling his mom, can y'all start a prayer line for me, a prayer chat, because I'm bleeding, it's been 7 days and something is wrong with me, okay? So I just want you to understand how powerful that is, that you are bleeding year round here, taking care of the kids, cooking, working, providing for your family while you're bleeding, while you're cramping, bloating, not feeling good. The stuff that women have to go through, and when we are carrying life, the changes that we have to go to. And don't even let me get started on actually delivering the baby. It is a lot, okay? So be gentle on yourself. You are beautiful. I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're 300 pounds, okay? You are beautiful. You are a beautiful soul. You are powerful beyond measure. There is nothing that you can't do. You are a badass, and the only thing that's in your way of stopping you from doing what you want to do is you not being honest, you not being accountable, you not being real with yourself. And once you get real with yourself, that hey, I was in that unworthy, windy energy, okay? I was acting like I needed people's approval and validation, and I needed to have a meeting with this person and that person to see if it was okay for me to do this, and I had to pray 40 days and 40 nights and fast at God's seat to see if he wanted me to go do this, when God says no, you don't got to do all that, because anything that's in your heart, I put it in you to do, so you don't need my permission. Just go ahead and do it, because I already gave you your permission. When it entered your heart, you will be on the road to, okay, I'm powerful, I got this, I have more control over my life than people make it seem like. Nothing is stopping me, okay? Especially with God on your side, with Father God and Mother God on your side, and your angels on your side, and your ancestor. I'm telling you, you are powerful, okay? So there were some other things I wanted to talk about in this video, but we'll get to them in another video. I hope me being transparent has helped you to know that, you know, being a goddess is not about, you know, these aesthetics that we see with makeup and looking good and posting pics that make them sick, and how much money you make, or how long your hair is, or what your body looks like, or what you no, it's not your looks. It has nothing to do with that. It's everything that's inside of you. And that's how a powerful woman, when you look at a woman and you're like, what is it about her, you know, what is it that draws me into her? It is her goddess, her God-given power, the work that she has done with her creator, knowing who she is within her creator, and knowing that her creator lives inside of her. And because her creator lives inside of her, she is responsible for creating everything that enters her imagination and her heart that is in alignment with her and makes her powerful. She does not need anyone's permission to do that. She can just go do that, okay? A goddess also understands balance. We also understand repercussions of our actions. We understand that God has given us the gift of free will to explore and to find out who we are and to find out who he is. But we also know that there are repercussions for our actions, that what we sow, we shall reap, okay? So if you plant negative seeds, if you plant bad seeds everywhere you go, you know you're going to reap bad things, okay? We know that. But free will truly is a gift. Don't let no one stop you from exploring and going outside, coloring outside the lines, and going down the unbeaten path to get to know yourself better, to get to know God better. Don't let anyone stop you from doing that, because God has truly given you the gift to do that, okay? It doesn't make sense, okay? When we go to school and we go to college and we get these master's and doctor's degrees, when you write a dissertation and you write a paper, let you come to your professor with one source. He's gonna look at you like, why do you only have one source? You should at least have at least 3 different sources. You should at least have 4 to 5, especially if you're writing a dissertation. Oh, you better have 5 to 10 sources. So why do we live life like that? Why do we only let religion or the Bible be our only source? God told me a long time ago that this earth, this life that we're living in, it's a university. We're learning of who we are, who we were in God before we came to this earth, so that we can contribute to a more harmonious society. And the Bible is just a source. It's not the end all be all. When you write a paper and you have to get your doctorate degree, your master's degree for people to recognize it, when you write your paper, you are not allowed to just have one source. So if you are not allowed to have just one source, why do we do that with life? Why do we do that with people? Why do we make people feel bad for wanting to look at other sources to get to know the truth? Make it make sense. Make it make sense, okay? Because it's not making sense to me that when you in the professional world, or when someone wants to give you a job, when you go get that degree, you got all your sources, but when it comes to life, oh, the Bible is the only source you need. That don't make sense. It is one of many sources. There's too much in this world to learn and explore, too much knowledge and information for the Bible to be the one all be all. And how come we say, you know, everything's for different people, different strokes for different folks? What may work for me may not work for you. But when it comes to the Bible, oh, No, this works for everybody. It doesn't matter where you come from, what color you are, what part of the world you are. The Bible is for you. But if I come to your house and I try to say, oh, I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna change that, or you need to change this, or you need to change that, or you should do this, or you should do that, we'll say, well, that doesn't work for me. You know, things work for different people. What may work for you may not work for me. But we try to literally stuff every single person, ethnicity, religion, and everything through this one small tiny hole, and history has shown you it's not working. People have died, especially if you are black, brown. If you acknowledge as Hispanic, I'm sorry to tell you you're black, because Hispanic, Latino, Cuban is nothing but Indian and African American. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Especially if you're black, you have to know that the Christianity was not the original way of doing spiritual things for us, okay? And we were indoctrinated to that through slavery, through colonization. So that should be the #1 red flag when someone is telling you to only adhere to religion. Well, my battery is about to die. That's my time, ladies and guys. Please let me know how you thought about this video. I love you. Again, being a divine feminine, being a goddess is in you. It's not on you. It's nothing you can buy. It's nothing you can do to have this type of power. This type of power only comes from God, but you first have to recognize that it's there, okay? And where it comes from, and how truly powerful it is, and how it can help transform your life, okay? We are owning and step into our goddess energy this year to help us to achieve our dreams, our goals, and everything that we want to do in life. And we are unapologetic and shameless about it. And we are also understanding how important and how powerful the female energy is to this male dominant society, and how it could teach us balance and how things really work, and how God really created the earth to be. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.